Aye, aye, Captain. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing terrific. You can hear me?
Yeah,
All right.
that's
We're back.
awesome. Wow.
Take two.
So, the last one we did, you were going on vacation to Nova Scotia.
Wow, yeah, that was a few weeks ago.
Anything interesting that happened in Nova Scotia that you want to tell me about? Or
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful place. I had a couple lobster rolls because it's, a lot of seafood.
yeah.
We saw some nice areas and we covered some ground. We covered a lot of ground. We went five different Airbnbs over 7 nights. We visited some cute towns and
Oh wow.
oh, I got engaged.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's awesome.
it is awesome. Thank you.
And
It was a lot of fun. I mean,
you guys are
Lynn and
living.
I are Lynn and I are together forever anyway, but I was just wanting it to be more than that. I've never been, it was interesting because most people our age in committed relationships are famous for saying, I would never get married again. What are you doing that for? And I was never one of those people. And I was kind of hoping she wasn't either. Oh, I like that branding. I don't even have a cup of coffee with me. But it was a lot of fun. I had been shopping for a ring for some time. Lynn has two adult sons who are the light of her life. And I'm kind of traditional. So, had her father been alive, he's been gone 27 years, I would have asked him. But instead, I asked her son's permission
Oh, that's
to
good.
marry their mom and a daughter-in-law as well. So that was exciting. And so I had everything ready to roll, except for, one big question and one big answer. There was only one person left to get to. I talked to my kids and got their blessings. But it was it was a lot of fun. It's funny how plans can shift on you a little bit. So we left on a Sunday, the 30th. Monday was the 31st, and Tuesday was the 1st. And basically, where we're going to be, there's an area up in Halifax, which is the capital city of Nova Scotia, called Peggy's Cove. And it's this big granite that goes all the way down into the ocean. There's a lighthouse there. It looks beautiful. I've never been. And I remember thinking, that's the place where this is going to happen. So Monday was our first full day. And we had a lot of road time. It was about 4 hours around to Halifax. We stopped on the way in a cute little town called Lunenburg. I got a funny story about that too. We walked into a bookstore. I mean, I love books. I'm always got stuff going. So I walked in this cute little independent bookstore, and I asked the woman, "Do you have any local authors?" And she's like, "Yeah, what kind of genre?" I go, "I don't know, mystery, suspense, something like, And she's like, and she brings you over to this area. She points to this one book, and I forget it was initials like C.K. Stapleton, whatever. And so I'm joking with her, and I go, "Is this you?" And she says, "No, no, no, this is a local person." And so I'm looking at the different books and trying to pick one. And she comes back like 10 minutes later and she points to another book and she says, "That's me." And then she like runs away, like she was uncomfortable with her own self promotion. But we had just a great time there. We got out to our Airbnb in Halifax later on that day. It's like 5 o'clock. And we passed a sign for Peggy's Cove on the way to our Airbnb because I knew it was like 45 minutes from downtown Halifax, but we weren't going that far. I'm like, oh, we could do this tonight. So we get into the most beautiful Airbnb I've ever stayed in. And we dropped the bags. We're kind of getting settled in. I said, "Why don't we run down to Peggy's Cove?" And she's like, we've been on the road all day. Let's just chill out and have a glass of wine. And I'm like, So she goes to the bedroom to drop something else off. And I put Peggy's Cove into my GPS thinking it's going to say 4 minutes away. It was 45 minutes away. I'm like, well, that's not happening. So it was this Airbnb was amazing. The kitchen's on the back. We're on a lake and gorgeous granite and appliances out to a deck, and you can go down the deck to this beautiful, lush backyard, green grass right out to this dock. So we walk out to this dock, and it was just, it was beautiful, and we had this dream of a lake house. There was a little bit of emotion going on, and I remember thinking, this is going to happen right now. So I said, I'll go get us some wine. I walked in with some wine and put a ring in my pocket. And the rest, as they say, is history. Oh, she said yes.
Right away, or did she?
No, this was on a Monday. By Friday, she gave me a yes. Oh, oh,
Look at that, huh? Wow. That's awesome.
she gave me a yes pretty quickly, actually.
You know, the two of you together are really good. I know. I tell you what, I'm so happy for you guys. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's special, and it's supposed to be special. It's amazing. And for those who don't know, Lynn and I have known each other since 2005. We met in a business networking group called BNI, and we were buddies for 15 years, just with this nice, respectful friendship. And then we picked quarantine to step this up and start dating, which was crazy, funny. I don't think we could have pulled it off without a 15-year friendship, though. You know, a basis to try to start dating in quarantine.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
And most of that only started because of her courage more so than mine, quite frankly. And yeah, so it was a special. You know, the funny part was, I mean, I have so many stories leading up to this proposal and engagement for months, and talking to her kids and my kids, and shopping for rings, and talking to a couple of close friends. And so I thought, right after this engagement, every meal we have on vacation is going to be about planning this wedding. I mean, I brought a notebook with me just to be right. So the next day I kind of broached this, and she's like, I'm still a little overwhelmed trying to get my head around this. And you've had a head start. And I'm like, oh, that's true. I've been planning this for a year. so we did very little planning.
So do you have a date?
But it was a great trip, Do
you have a date yet, or?
We don't. We got talking a little bit about that. By the end of the week, I was able to kind of bring it up again. So I started light. I'm like, well, what season do you think you want to get married in? Because if summer is important, we're probably not going to pull this off in 4 weeks. So now we're talking next summer. That seems like a long time. And she's like, yeah, that's true. And then she said, I don't really want to do a fall wedding. All right. And so that leaves winter and spring, right? So winter, I thought, December's too busy, like no question. And I said, spring, you get into May, it's getting close. So we had gotten down to sometime between January 1st and April 30th.
Oh.
So we've already, so we crossed off 2/3 of the year. We're down to 1/3.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's fun. We can, a second time around, we can make this what we want it to be. So we're thinking about a very small family ceremony sometime this winter, and then a gigantic reception party sometime next spring at the house. Everything will be done, and we'll have it catered and music, and maybe we'll do it right here. So
cool.
But very exciting.
So next month, 9/11.
9/11.
Terry and I celebrate 46 years of marriage.
How many?
46.
46. I just want to make sure that people heard that, because I thought I heard 26.
No,
46.
Yeah.
So she was 3 when you got married, and you were 7.
Oh, 7.
That's amazing.
For the 45th, I didn't do anything special. You know how it is sometimes.
45. Come on.
So then I could tell she was disappointed. So
But you could you?
I said, so I'm sorry. So for the 46th, I'm going to take you to Italy. She goes, I always wanted to go to Italy. I said, yeah. And then for the 50th, I'm going to go back there and see if you're still there. Oops.
Who was that? Let me hear that again.
You hear it this time or no?
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, because I don't need a drummer. I have my own little.
Hey, everybody needs a drummer.
As far as the engagement, the crowd is very excited about it.
So,
okay, stop. Wow, they're really into it.
Please, calm yourselves. Take a seat, please.
That's so awesome, man. Wow.
We did a bunch of pictures the next day and threw something up on Facebook, which was nice. I did and she did, and just Facebook exploded, which was so fun.
So
and we had great rest of week. We covered a lot of ground. I didn't think Nova Scotia was that big, and then went up to Prince Edward Island also, which was important.
So that was important what you did with asking your children if they're okay with it, and her children if they're okay with it. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I talked to my kids specifically and said I would like your blessing on this. Of course, they both know her, and it's all good.
Yeah.
And then specifically, I asked her sons and daughter-in-law their permission, and I went 4 for 4. I went 5 for 5. Everybody's on board.
So,
And then I went 6 for 6 when she said yes. Whew.
so one of the good things to do during the period where you're engaged is to bring it to Florida, Tampa Bay, for vacation.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's something you should do.
Any towns in particular? Tampa's a big region, and towns in particular? Or?
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
Clearwater Beach is real nice, and,
I would like to go to. There's got to be some beautiful like beachside restaurants right in Clearwater Beach. Must be spectacular.
oh yeah, yeah,
Oh, sure.
very nice.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, all along,
I'm actually trying to figure out a golf trip. So my son is in the golf world, and he spends the summer in Colorado, and he spends the winter in Lakeland, Florida, right next door to you. And he finishes in Colorado like October 20th, and he's caddying today for Peyton Manning. I like that.
oh, that's cool.
Right? He texted me last night. I'm caddying for Peyton Manning tomorrow. I'm like, nice. But he'll finish there October 20th, and he'll drive down to Florida. He starts November 1st. And it's funny, I got to be in Orlando on November 4th for a one-day event. It's a Saturday. So I'm thinking Zach's down there. We're overdue for a golf trip. The beginning of his season is going to be slow. So I'm hoping to get down there like Halloween through Friday, like a 4-day golf trip with him and pop around and then do my event in Orlando on Saturday. Have brunch with you on Sunday and then come home. But Lynn won't be with me for any of that, so that's not going to work either.
I was watching one of those things that they do where they roast people, those shows.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
And
They're brutal.
Peyton Manning was one of the guys that was there.
Oh, that's
And this, I forget what, but this lady was a comic, and she was saying, and Peyton Manning's here, and Peyton Manning's unbelievable. I mean, you ever watch his commercials? He's like the best of commercials. It's amazing. I have to say to you, I think he's so good that he's actually like the Tom Brady of commercials.
I remember an interview years ago, because years ago they would pit the two of them together, Brady and Manning, and who's better. And it was like a countrywide argument, and then the media would try to bait them both because they were both playing. And I remember an interview, and I probably see more of it with the Boston media than people around the country. But Tom Brady, they said, "You have any comments about Peyton Manning?" Just trying to bait him, and he says, "He's a good actor." And he just walked away. It was awesome. I'm sure Peyton laughed more than anybody in that. Peyton strikes me as a really good dude,
Yeah, I think so.
Right? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Certainly one of the best. I was at a convention, God, years ago. I had a friend of mine who was in the home theater business, and I was doing a little bit of work with him. And there was a convention called CEDIA, CEDIA, Custom Electronics Something Design Association. And the convention was in Indianapolis. And it was attached to the what do they call that? The Superdome or some dome where the Colts play. And the convention was tied to it. And somehow me and a couple people went down a couple hallways and through a door. Next thing you know, we're out on the turf of the dome of the field. And there was no one in there. It's a really cool thing to like be standing on the turf in the end zone and no one in the place. Like, look at this.
Yeah,
So that's got to be 15 years ago. My goodness.
Indianapolis. And so when I was manager of Ford's dealerships in Leominster, we sold Stockcraft conversion vans.
I remember those.
I think I sold a lot of them because every year they would give me 2 tickets to the Indianapolis race or to the time trials, and I could go with 2 people, stay at the Hyatt, this other stuff. And so it's pretty amazing. So one time, I took Terry, and if you've never
And you
been,
were there for the Indianapolis 500 for the race?
yeah, and so if you've never been to one of those races, those cars go so fast. It's amazing, it's like 230 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
So Johnny Rutherford was sponsored by Starcraft Conversion. So we actually had dinner with him.
Remember that name?
Yeah, and somebody says to him, "So how do you drive like that with those in those small cars and at that speed?" He goes, "Well, it's just like driving on a highway, except for I'm I'm driving with people that are professionals."
Yeah. Going my speed. Just left turns for 500 miles. That's so funny. I didn't realize you'd ever been there before. I surprised Lynn. So this would have been her birthday, summer of 2021. We've been together for just over a year. And I always just like going someplace new and uncovering a city.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she was up for it. So I surprised her. She knew nothing except we were going somewhere on a plane. And we went to Indianapolis for a weekend, long weekend, like a Friday morning to Monday or a Thursday night to Sunday, something like that. And I had an Airbnb, great spot. And you do a lot of checking things out ahead of time, YouTube, what to do in Indianapolis, top 10 things. And so she loves zoos. So into Indianapolis Zoo, which was significant. And then we went out to the raceway and had a golf cart tour.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And you kind of don't, it was just this one guy and the two of us with this customized tour. So he has his talking points, but we're having all sorts of conversations. And in addition to the speed, because there were a couple of people doing their own time stuff, but nothing like you saw. But you can't get a feel for how huge this place is. Like there's a golf course. I love golf. There's a golf course next door to the raceway called Raceway Golf. It's an 18-hole golf course. Really nice. At one point, your golf carts go down through a tunnel and up to the inside of the oval, and there are 4 holes inside the oval of the Indianapolis 500 for this golf course.
Oh,
That's how, I mean, and it doesn't even, you can't even see it. It's so small, these 4 holes. That's how massive this place was. I also didn't realize this, but I was embarrassed to ask, but whatever. Indianapolis is run every Memorial Day weekend. I didn't know that.
yeah.
And so we left there like this would be a fun thing to come do. So we kind of threw it on our bucket list to go to the Indianapolis 500 some Memorial Day weekend. It seems like a great time.
So and then one time we were like in the during the what do they call it? Before the race, where they go out and see who's going to be, set up in the first place, second place, whatever.
Oh yeah, all the I don't know time trials or something. They get all their
Time trials,
places
yeah.
lined up.
So when those cars come through, like there's just one car, and it's like he's doing like 240 miles an hour or something like that. It's amazing. One Terry was like, "Oh, what the heck?" So one of the guys said, "If you really want to get a good feel for the speed, go down to the wall, and then when they're coming around the fourth turn,
Yeah,
don't look at them. Turn your back to them, so that they shoot out from behind you." It is amazing because Terry actually got scared because it's so fast, it's crazy.
yeah.
And then one year when instead of going to the race, I went to the time trials, so you can actually go into where the cars are at, where they work on the cars,
Oh yeah, yeah.
gasoline alley or whatever they call it, and we could go there and talk to the people and the drivers. It's just amazing.
Oh, like what do they call those? The pit stops where they pull in to get their tires changed and
Oh,
stuff.
that's so
Pit
crazy.
stop.
Yeah. And so at the Hyatt we were staying, there was a store downstairs. They had like a little gift store, but they had all kinds of shirts. But all these shirts were Larry Bird. So I'm thinking, so I said to the lady, says, "What's the deal with all Larry Bird stuff?" She goes, "Well, he's from here." I said, "Oh, that makes sense then."
That's a French Lick, Indiana. That's right.
But there used to be a train station there. I forget what it's called now. Something, but they converted it to all these stores, and food courts and stuff.
Yeah,
We were there, and I took a picture. I'm going to show you this. This is so funny, actually. Hold on.
I had a couple of pictures I was going to show you of our trip.
Sometimes how they have those booths where you can take a picture, but they make it seem like if you're in a magazine or something, right? You see it?
I do. I love it.
So what happened is I had that on top of the table, and Terry and I were eating, and there was a busboy that was like behind us, behind us cleaning a table, and he saw it. He goes, "Hey, is that you?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Whoa, what's your name?" I said, "Tony Cabral." He goes, "Oh, Tony. Oh, wow, you're Tony Cabral." He says, wow. So then he was talking and he asked me for an autograph. So I said, sure. So I said, what's your name? And he gave me his name. I says, wishing you the best, and always go fast or whatever like that. So Terry says, what you do that for? I says, "I just, he thought I was somebody, so that's okay. But then he's over there talking to some of the other guys that are busboys there, and he's pointing at us. And three of them come over to get an autograph too. And I'm like, wow.
There you go. Look at that. There we are.
Oh, you got one of those. Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Oh, it was so fun. We got all sorts of stuff. Here's the race. You get right down at the race. I mean, you were right down. Nobody's racing, but it's
Oh, yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Bleachers, and it was a fun trip. And of course, you got the finish line, with that's what they call it, the bricks. The Brickyard 400 is also running. That's the finish line with the
Oh, yeah,
bricks.
yeah.
Pretty amazing. It was a fun time. We need to go back. I'd love to go and oh, here you go. Private golf cart tour. That's right. VIP, baby.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
So now in Florida, I don't know if they do it up there, but a lot of people have golf carts.
Yep.
And you can have a tag on them. You can actually ride them on the roads.
Really? Street legal.
Yeah. So near my house here, there's a place called Jack Willie's. I told you about that bar it's like a restaurant bar in the water.
Takes you like 2 minutes to get to and 24 to get home.
Well, it takes me 60 seconds to get there. It takes me almost 18 minutes to come back to come home. The difference is staggering.
I do love that joke. I set you up. Anyway, oh yeah. So where you are, there's that place. What were we just talking about? I lost it.
So the golf
I
cart,
cut you off.
the golf carts come by my house because there's like my road is not far, but then there's like a road behind my house. There's a retention pond back there.
Yep.
A lot of them come through there because they go there, then they just have to cross into St. Pete Drive into the restaurant, and it's really cool to see them.
Oh, that's neat. Yep.
So when I hit
Oh
the
my
lotto,
goodness.
I'm not going to buy a Lamborghini. I'm going to buy a golf cart.
Nice, but a nice one.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. With a radio.
Oh, cassette deck, everything.
Guess
Maybe
that's-
even a CD player.
You remember those big what were those things
Eight tracks.
8-track? Wow. Phew. Crazy
That's
stuff.
funny. And now vinyl's back. I had some friends over. Tom and Janice came over Friday night for dinner here and had some wine. And we hadn't seen each other since before our trip. And they had a trip to Southern California. And so we spent all night and had a great time. But I pulled a case of record albums out of the garage. And my niece and nephew had gotten me a record player for my birthday last year. So we were spinning albums all night. It was awesome.
There's a place in St. Pete, an Italian restaurant, and they make all the food there, and you can buy sausage or everything that they make. So Terry and I go there some once in a while to buy some stuff because they had the salted cod,
Oh,
and then we're sitting there eating, and then all of a sudden next door there's a place called Bananas Records. They sell all kinds of albums and stuff.
oh, Bananas Records. That's a good name for it.
Yeah. So I went over there and guy behind the counter says, hey, anything before? I says, well, I don't know, man. A friend of mine called me. He says, because he wanted to meet me at this store here. He says, meet me there in 45. But I got here in 33, which is really record time for. And he just died laughing. He says, what the? He says, that's a very creative.
What year did this happen? Was it 78?
No.
Oh,
Wow.
wow, that's funny.
Yeah, so I still have some albums. I mean, I don't know.
I have 2 or 3 crates, like the milk crates of albums that have just been moving with me every time I move since high school.
One
Oh,
of my favorites
wow.
ever.
The Royal Scam.
Steely Dan. Yeah, this is awesome.
I have that album in that crate right there. I'm looking at a crate. It's 12 feet from me. I got that album in.
Yeah. Wow. Craziness, huh?
That's so awesome. So the Nova Scotia thing, just to get back, we left Sunday to Sunday. So I'll tell you what's fun. We drove up to Bar Harbor, Maine, which is 5 hours from here, because it's an 11 hour drive to Halifax. We drove to Bar Harbor and then drove on to the CAT, which is this big catamaran high-speed ferry that takes you out and around to Yarmouth, Nova Scotia in 3.5 hours. And I mean, it's not cheap, but it was an important part of the vacation. You spend money differently on vacations. So I have to do this. It was awesome. I mean, it was massive. Leather couches, furniture everywhere, TVs, live music. There was a guy playing acoustic, full bar, full cafe, food. It was just like luxury. And you were surrounded by picture windows, so everything was a gorgeous view. It was a very, very comfortable, ride across. The weather was beautiful, so it wasn't a problem. But this is what the inside of the ferry looks like. Oh, there we go. Hold on, there it is. I mean, surrounded by all these picture windows. This is her and I just as we're getting going, and it was just beautiful.
Nice, huh? Wow.
So the way back Sunday coming home, we got on the 9:30 ferry. We're back in Bar Harbor by about noon, and we have a 5.5 hour drive ahead of us on a Sunday. And traffic coming out of Maine and New Hampshire is going to be heavy. And we just took our time. We stopped for lunch. We got home at about 8:15 that night.
Wow.
What do you got?
So my son was here visiting us, and he bought his dog from California, and so
Oh yeah, I remember that.
and so it was kind of a little bit of a rain thing, but right in front of my house. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't.
Oh, I see the rainbow.
Yeah, see the rainbow. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but there's a rainbow like right across the.
Oh, it's a full one. You got both sides. I can see it now. Perfect. Look at that.
I went over to the neighbors. I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He says, "Wow." He says, "Look at this." And I showed him the photo. He says, "Where'd you get that?" He says, "It's going on right now. You're sitting at home watching soap operas or something. Go out here and look at this thing."
Soap operas.
Soap operas. There's a rainbow running over your house, and you're not even looking at it.
So there's a new album out by some band called Extreme. Maybe you've heard of them. The fourth song is Other Side of the Rainbow.
Yeah.
What a great song. Oh my God, beautiful song.
How was the show?
So that's where I was getting to. So we got home on a Sunday night at 8:15. We were in the car 8 hours on Sunday. We were in the car 8 hours on Saturday also. It was just a lot. So you get home, I like to unpack. It's funny how well she and I do traveling together, but like also the differences, like, oh, put him on speakerphone. Who's that?
Jason, you want to be on a show today? No, it's not him.
I like to unpack immediately. We had done laundry towards the end of the trip at some Airbnb, so it's nice to come home and put clean clothes folded back in the drawers. But next, Monday morning, boom, we're right back at it. Crazy busy week. Friday night, we and I drive down to Hartford to see Extreme. Yeah. And I was really looking forward to it. I'd never been to the Webster Theater in Hartford before. I was told, well, you know what it was? When Nate Ramos' band, one of the bands I drum in, we were playing that Off the Rails gig in Worcester, big spot, 400 people. It was a lot of fun. And the guy doing our sound was a contractor for Off the Rails. Next door at the Palladium in Worcester, they do the sound, and they do the sound at Webster Theater. So I'd heard of the Webster Theater. He says, it's not in a great neighborhood. So we get there, we park on the street, not too far. So I'm worried about, well, I'm not worried, but I'm thinking like, let's park somewhere we can walk back quick when it's 11 o'clock at night. And we walk up to this theater it's kind of like in a depressed neighborhood, like triple deckers and two families. And all of a sudden there's this corner with this Webster Theater. And I see the line, a couple of tour buses. I see the line. So we start walking down the street and the line is just continuing. We make the right-hand turn, the line. It was unbelievable how long this line was. We finally get in there. Living Color, who's warming up for them, they were already playing. And man, it was packed and really loud. Like, I'm not a wimp, but it was louder than it needs to be. And if it gets that loud, it kind of gets distorted and you kind of don't get great sound quality. And And Lynn is tiny, as you saw from the picture. So our concern is always like, where can we stand that she can see? So we kind of get down this back row. We're standing there. We can kind of see what's going on. And they finished up a little, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And I knew that the time between them and Extreme, people are going to jockey around and go get drinks and get to the bathroom. And we weren't going to do any of that. We just kind of worked our way down. And we learned, and she learned from the Hampton Beach Casino ballroom, get to where the sound guy is. They got the little steel fences around them, and bring in tight to this steel fence, and we're good. So we had a nice vantage point for Extreme. And they didn't come on until about 9:20, but they played until 11:20. I mean, it was amazing. They opened up with Rebel on the new album, which is one of my favorites, I think.
Yeah.
And they were great. They're tight. They're having fun. I mean, there's a lot of banter between. You could tell the guys like each other, which I always get a kick out of. You know, he and Pat are always, Nuno and Pat are always doing funny guitar stuff back and forth and joking. And Gary's all over the place. His energy and his flexibility, and Kevin's just back there pounding away and holding the whole thing down and driving it. And every time they played a song, they would have the CD up behind them of that album. So that was kind of neat. And they did 5 songs off the new album, which I was really psyched about, including Other Side of the Rainbow, which was beautiful. And they came back for an encore. And then afterwards, they come right down and slapping hands with the audience. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun.
So Kevin could probably get you into backstage or something.
I never asked, but I texted him beforehand saying, "Hey, man, I'm really psyched to see the show." And as we're in line coming up, and I got a feel for just how much is on their minds, you know. And it looks like, from our perspective, the rock star life looks amazing. But when you do it 5 or 6 nights a week and your family's away, like, I don't know what goes on and how focused you got to get. So we're coming up on the big Prevost motor coaches, the band buses. And I'm like, well, there's no way anyone's in there. The line's going right by. There's a back gate into this old building. And at one point, oh no, that was later. So we come across, the door opens up. This guy steps out, and he's got like really short, blonde, spiky hair. And he's dressed like a crew guy. And everyone stops to look because the line's going. He goes, "No, I'm not Nuno." He's got this short, blonde hair. It was hysterical. But I'm like, I wonder who's on the bus. And just as we got by the door, it opened, and I turned and looked, and Kevin stepped out of the bus. And I thought we had eye contact for a second, because I was going to kind of go like this, but he was so focused on, you know, getting in, and just kind of, he was by himself. He walked across the back. There was a guard at this gate to let him in. And so I didn't get a chance to chat with him. But, and I think probably Kevin, being the new guy in the band 15 years ago, was probably less recognizable than Gary or Nuno and even Pat. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So those Prevost bands, those things are awesome, aren't they?
Yeah, we used to hang around those back in the day, didn't we?
Well, you remember our friend Don?
Yep.
He had one of those 525,000.
Yeah.
So one time
I remember the first time I went to meet him. We were going to get together and chat about some stuff, and he said, "Well, meet me over here. I'll be on the coach." And I'm like, all right. So I get to this parking lot. There's the coach. And I kind of walk up like, what do I do? And it had a doorbell on it. And I'm like, wow, of course it does it. That was the first thing I said. I'm like, your motor coach has a doorbell. And he goes, yeah. That's hysterical.
So he took a few of us inside so we could see it, right?
Yeah. Oh.
And then somebody said, "Hey, Don, how many people does this sleep?" He goes, 2.
2. Period.
Was it Ruth?
Ruth, yeah.
Just Ruth and I. That's it. I thought that was.
I remember him telling a story to a large group of people about his mom asking, "How many is that sleep?" And he says, 2, Mom, 2.
Did you ever go to his island up in?
Oh yeah.
In Maine.
Pisaki.
Yeah.
We were probably there together. You were up there a couple of times, weren't you?
Yeah.
I bet we were on the island together.
Yeah. You see now, you know, he had all that stuff. But like, if somebody comes to my house and they want to hang out, they can rake my backyard or something, you know.
Sure. No charge to rake it, right?
Free.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
I'll even give them a bottle of water if they get thirsty, you know.
That was Parker Island on Winnipesaukee, and we used to get there by going to the Corinthian Yacht Club.
Wow.
walking down to get in the boat and going across.
I had a situation, sometimes I take Virgil's dog, because he travels a lot and his wife works from home, so sometimes I take the dog for a few days.
Nice.
Right next to my house is a field there that nothing there, just a field. And I was taking this dog for a walk, and over the field, there's like three townhomes or something. And the dog had already done number 2 and number 1. He's just a little small.
What else is there to do then?
Just a little small dog, and he's probably 8 pounds or something. I don't know. So he's going on, they're always sniffing at the grass or something for some reason. So he was sniffing the grass that was actually near the property of that townhome. So this guy comes out and says, "Hey, that's my property." I says, "Nobody's trying to take your property, sir." He says, "It's my property." I says, "Well, the dog already did number 2 and number 1. All he's doing is sniffing the grass. I don't think it's hurting anything." He says, "Yeah, but it's my property." I says, "Listen, I don't know why you're coming at me this way, but just so you know I live over there in the side of the field. I see you out there every day with three big dogs on that field, and that's not your property either. So what's the problem, man? You have a problem?" He looked at me like, "Says you're being rude for no reason at all, man. If your dogs can go that property that's not yours, why can't mine just go sniff the grasses on yours? What's the big deal? Relax, man." So I was leaving. He goes, "Oh, you're right. I'm sorry." I says, "Don't worry about it."
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, you're right. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. You're making friends everywhere you go.
Usually I don't complain about stuff or anything like that, but just that he came across me like I was doing something really bad.
He boxed you in. You had no choice. You had no choice.
I should have pulled my drawers down and went to the bathroom in his lawn there. That'll teach him a lesson.
Yeah, that would have taken the conversation in a different direction. No question.
I know you don't want the dogs to do that, but it's okay if a human does it.
Oh my goodness! So we got 1 week left of summer. How about some summer reading suggestions? I've read. I've not written any books, not yet. I have read a couple of really good ones. So let's see. There's a woman named Erin Hildebrand, and she lives on Nantucket. She just writes these really fun summer novels about families. I read one called 28 Summers, and it blew me away. And I literally was finishing this book. I was bawling my eyes out reading this book because I was so connected to these characters, and it was about to be over, and I was going to return to the library. I didn't want it to be over. So she's terrific. And then I found another one, totally different genre. I heard this guy on a podcast. He's an ATF agent, and he infiltrated a motorcycle gang on Long Island. And he had a wife and 3 kids in the Boston area and lived undercover in Long Island in this motorcycle gang as a full member for 2 years.
Wow.
And then brought it all down. It's a group called the Pagans. Everybody knows the Hells Angels. These guys are as big and as violent. But it was a great book called Riding with Evil.
I'm reading this one.
Oh, that's a good book too. I don't know who that guy is. Nuno Betancourt. Cool name.
So anyway, we're going to be closing this down pretty soon here.
We are, or they are, one or the other. That was my idea.
Yeah.
So Joe, our good friend Joe, JD and the Retro